Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Camp Indie Hub and Raise the Bar presented by MIBOR Realtor Association. Tonight's conversation is an important one. It's all about buying a house. And things are kind of crazy right now. So we're gonna hear from experts about what all that means, what you should be thinking about. So I'm very excited to be here with my new friends, Regina Jones, Michelle Hammis. Hammis?
Yes, correct.
Michelle Hammis and Steve Thompson. Thanks for being here and for being a part of this conversation.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
So I want to start by having each of you just share a little bit about your story, how you landed in Indianapolis, how you landed in real estate. Steve, why don't you kick us off here?
So I'm Steve Thompson. I've been in business for a little over 7 years. Prior to that, I was a law enforcement officer, and prior to that, I was in the military. I work out of Anderson in Madison County and have a real estate office of about 38 agents. We service all of Central Indiana, and I'm involved with Mybore on several different boards and as a director on the board of directors for Mybore.
Michelle, take it away.
All right. Well, I came to Indianapolis after graduating from the University of Texas at Austin. I visited, loved the city, so decided to stay, and was in consumer goods for the last 16 years prior to my real estate career. Went into new construction and realized, you know what? These realtors have it going on. I want to get on that side. So I became a realtor 4 years ago. Now I lead Hammis Property Group at Keller Williams. And I also participate in some MyBore committees. So very excited to be here.
Regina, take it away.
Hi, Blake, Regina Jones, Carpenter Realtors. I am the 2021 president of Mybore.
Am I supposed to call you Madam President? Because I can do
I
that.
think so.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be
I'm
great.
ready.
No, I'm just
ready.
kidding. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. But I began my real estate journey 20 years ago. This is my 20th year in real estate, and I really decided that real estate was something I was interested in when I bought my first house. So it's a good segue into first-time home buying, into the buyer's situation. But bought my first house. I was like, that looks very interesting. I love the home buying process, so I just went for it. I'm born and raised here in Central Indiana. I'm an East Sider. East Side.
Right.
Warren Central. Warren
Okay.
Central High School. I'm a warrior.
All right.
Right?
Very good.
But yeah, that's me. 20 years in, president of Mybore. I'm a branch manager with Carpenter Realtors.
Regina,
Yes.
I came to you last because I'm also going to stay on you the longest here.
Ooh,
so could
okay.
you share just a
Should I
little
be
bit more
afraid?
about Mybore and the mission and the work that the organization does?
Mybore's mission is to ensure market efficiency in our marketplace, to promote professionalism among our members, to strengthen our communities, and to provide the technology resources that our realtors, Steve, Michelle, and myself, that we need through what's called the BLC, which is the Broker Listing Cooperative. And that's very similar to an MLS. So out in the big world, across the country, people know it as MLS. We refer to it here as the BLC, the Broker Listing Cooperative. So that is our mission, the mission of Mybore.
All right, so let's talk about buying a house. Especially for first-time home buyers, it's a pretty tricky experience, a pretty tricky process. You need to know the rules, be familiar with terminology, and have your finances prepared. What's the best place to start? And Michelle, I'm going to have you kick us off.
Yes, definitely. I say start with a realtor because at the end of the day, you need their knowledge. There's a lot of areas that you can get bogged down in that may sound good, but aren't actually good moves to make. And we, as your realtor partners, can actually help you through that whole process.
Anybody want to add anything about the first steps here, what people need to be thinking about?
First steps, pre-approval.
Mm-hmm.
Get in touch with a realtor and get in touch with a lender. The pre-approval process is really the huge step in that.
And understanding all the programs that are out there, because a lot of times people think I have to have 20% down, therefore I can't buy a house yet. There are lots of programs out there available that can meet their needs where they're at today.
And can a realtor help you find the right financing, the right person to talk to, connect with
Definitely.
all that?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Okay. You know, lots of news right now about the housing market and it being just kind of bonkers. What would you want to share with folks as they're thinking about going out and buying a house right now, what they can expect? And Steve, once you've been just looking good, sitting there for a second, I'm going to have you kick it off.
I appreciate that. So this market is unprecedented. We've never seen inventory as low as it is right now. We've never seen prices jump as high as they are right now. And all those facts tell us nothing more than why it is all the more important in today's market to talk to your fiduciary first. Get with a realtor, establish that relationship and have a relationship that you're comfortable and confident in from the beginning, so they can put you in touch with the right people to make sure you're making the right decisions before you enter this market.
So what about finding value? So I mean, with this all being the truth, right? Low inventory, but still some good options on where to be looking. How do you kind of determine what a good value is when things are kind of all over the place?
Yeah, so value is a question that is always asked, but oftentimes, almost always, is relative to your circumstances and where you're at. If you look at Central Indiana and our market compared to the national statistics, we're still an incredibly affordable market to be purchasing a residence in. So it's not necessarily about the value for a specific property or even a specific neighborhood. It's more about the value for you, why you want to be a homeowner, and what steps you have to take to get to that point. That's where a realtor and the resources, the experience, the certification that comes with being a member of the MIBOR Realtor Association makes all the difference.
How should folks think about budgeting? So when they're thinking about buying that first house, our folks are in their 20s and 30s, maybe some of them are renters, some are already homeowners. How should they think about what they need to be putting aside and how they need to think financially when it comes to this big decision?
First things first, they have to include a budget for maintenance in the home. Because a lot of times people become homeowners and they have enough to be in the home and that's it. So at the end of the day, our goal is to also provide them with something that will give them a good return on their investment when they decide to sell. And the way that you do that is to be able to maintain the home. So one of the major things is pay attention to making sure you have a budget or a home warranty or something to support those maintenance needs as they arise.
It'd be like buying a car and not being able to pay for gas, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And HOAs, you also want to budget that in.
Yeah,
Okay.
HOA fees. And then, when you're saving your funds to purchase a home, you also want to look into your closing costs, the closing costs that are associated, your down payment that is associated with purchasing a home. And, right off the bat, I think a lot of people, they get so excited. Buyers get excited. Okay, I've got an accepted offer. I need to furnish my house. I need to buy appliances. I need to buy a lawnmower. Hold off on all of that until after you close. A lot of times people's debt to income ratio would change if they went out and maxed out all their credit cards to buy appliances and things like that. So again, that's something that the realtor would be advising, their lender would be advising, save your money, let's get you to closing, and then after that, let's start spending a little money to get that house established.
If I'm thinking I want a house, and I know right now I just want to explore, right? I just kind of want to look around. I want to try out some neighborhoods, see what fits. Should I already have a realtor, or can I just do that on my own? Can I just trust Zillow? Can I get on Zillow and dance around?
No comment.
You can. You can get on Zillow and look around, but I would say the first step would be speaking to a realtor. I know, again, I spoke earlier about my experience coming into real estate and that I got the bug when I bought my first home. Part of that was really talking to a realtor, and then she directed me to a lender, but the lender looked at it and she's like, "Oh, you have a Jack LaLanne." I swear, y'all. Do people, your viewers probably don't even know who Jack LaLanne is, but I had an outstanding Jack LaLanne membership fee.
Wow.
And so
I don't know what that is.
you don't know. Oh my gosh, Steve, be quiet.
I find it's
And
best
in
just to
unitard.
nod in these
Just
moments.
not. It's just not. Take
Thought
another
we had
sip,
established
Steve.
that
Take another
already.
sip. So the point I'm making is that when I spoke to my realtor and she directed me to my lender, the lender said, "You know what? Jack LaLanne is calling you. They need their money, Regina." And I said, "Oops, okay." And so I was then able to know exactly what I needed to do to get my credit right. My husband and I, we saved for a whole year. We got all of our ducks in a row with the help of our realtor. And then we were ready to buy. We were pre-approved, ready to go, had our money saved. Jack LaLanne was happy, and I became a homeowner.
Okay, lots of neighborhoods to explore. I mean, this is a city with you can literally have any kind of lifestyle you want. You can
Yes.
live on a farm, you can live by the water, you can live in the heart of downtown. So what do you suggest folks do as they just start that exploration process? We already know, talk to a realtor because they can help you hone in a little bit. But what else? What else should they be doing as they're thinking about exploring all that Indy has to offer
I
from the
would
housing
say
market?
drive the city. There's lots of neighborhoods, as you spoke about, and sometimes, one street over could be your dream street, and you definitely want to go in and out of certain areas and see how you feel about it. And also ask friends and family. You know, you go to visit them for holidays and for whatever, if you like their area, just kind of take some time to spend around the area and then go back and talk with your realtor, because that's going to get you all the information you need to see if that's a good fit for you and your family.
And I would even expand on that a little bit further. You know, the one thing that a realtor can't do for you is tell you what it's like to, or help you see what it's like to live in that community that you're considering. So even if it's, you know, not to drive, but look at all your other modes of transportation as well. Take a walk through a neighborhood that you're interested in. You know, if you're close to a bike trail like the Monon or anything else, get on a bike. If you don't have one, there's plenty of options out to rent one. You know, you can ride the red line. You can do so many things, so many other types of things to utilize public transit to really help you get to know what the neighborhood's like before you make that step into the investment.
Use public transit. That's a big takeaway here. Use public transit.
Hey everybody, I'm Blake Jones, co-founder and president of West Fork Whiskey Company. Tonight's conversation is taking place right here at the tasting room. West Fork Whiskey Company, based here in Indianapolis, is hell-bent on making great Indiana-esque whiskey. We've been around on paper since 2014, started producing in 2015, and we're in the process of breaking ground on one of the largest independent whiskey distilleries in the country out of Westfield, Indiana. West Fork's got multiple brand sets. It's got its West Fork Whiskey brand set, that's made right here in-house, and then we also have our Old Hamer brand set, which was an old school Indiana brand that we brought back to life in 2019. Both, we feel, are great representations of really cool Indiana whiskey that are sweet, subtle, and very corn forward. We'd love for you to learn more about us at www.westforkwhiskey.com. You can learn more about our story, our brands, where to buy our whiskey, our ready-to-drink canned cocktails. I bet there's a retailer close to you, and if you don't have a retailer close to you, please feel free to come here at our tasting room. You can see our production and drink a little bit of whiskey.
So real talk, right? So you see all these HGTV shows, right? These television shows that you buy a house, it's it's a fixer-upper, and you just dive in 30 minutes your house is brand new. Okay, so that is one perception of how this could work. But what's the difference really between going turnkey, ready to move in, ready to go, and a house that you're gonna have to put a little bit of love into and a little bit of that money you should have saved up?
Thank you. The money you should have saved
Well,
up.
people are going to have to understand their threshold for pain. And that is not just only financial, but it's also in doing the work. Because you can get a fixer-upper and it will take all your budget and take you under with it. That's where your realtor comes in handy to be able to walk you through and say, okay, you understand that all of these things would be required to happen before you can actually move in. So you could potentially buy a home and you can't even move into it because it's not viable at that time. Also, it depends on your loan product. If you have, a VA or an FHA loan, that's going to have some criteria that won't allow you to go and get that fixer-upper. So just understanding all of that, and again, that's where we come in handy to be able to provide the guide for those.
Correct. And I'll chime in that if it is a fixer-upper, let's talk about the price of lumber. Let's talk about the price of fixing it up. So it's not the fixer-upper prices of 3 or 4 years ago. It's very expensive to do a rehab right now.
If someone's a first-time home buyer, a home hunter,
Yes.
What are the most important elements they should be looking at? I mean, you see things in terms of searches where a fireplace in the bedroom, a swimming pool in the front yard. Would be a weird place for it, but people
It could
do
happen.
things.
It could happen.
What should they actually be thinking about that's actually really important when they're looking at that first process of looking through a home?
The first 3 rules of real estate are location, location, location. There's a lot of things that people will narrow themselves down on when they're using whatever search engine they're using to look for a home on the internet. But truly, the only thing that you can't change about a home is where it's located. Everything else is up for grabs. Now, granted, you have to have the budget and the ability to do that if you want to make those large changes, like adding another bedroom or even another bathroom. But some of the other things you should consider is, I've been watching, Hallmark Channel these past holidays, and I've got to have that wood burning fireplace. Well, number one, do you know what it takes to keep up on a wood burning fireplace? And number two, if you've got the perfect home in the perfect location that provides all the amenities you're looking for, but it doesn't have that fireplace, is that something we really can't budge on? And even if it is, then maybe we look for another opportunity, whether it's an insert or something else to provide that. The important thing when you're looking for your first home is to get yourself in a situation that's going to set you up for long-term down the road success. So, working again with a realtor to help you figure out what those things are, pinpoint what's really the most important to you, what's crucial for this big major investment you're making in your future, and then everything else we can figure out afterwards.
That's right. I mean, the communication between myself and my clients is crucial. Generally, I really know what their needs are, what their limits are as well, what they're willing to take on, what they can afford. I had a client one time, I called him and I said, I found your house. I found it. I found your house. He's like, no way. I was like, way, I found your house. And I did a walkthrough through it. He came, met me, and it had all of his needs because we had that relationship. And he was honest with what his needs were, what his wants were. I knew kind of what he would let go or kind of compromise on. And as soon as he came over to look at it, he's like, you found my house. I'm like, told you I found the house. So I think it's the communication is the place to start, and really knowing what you're able to take on, right?
And sometimes you have to help provide clarity, because as a first-time home buyer, I know how I was. I was like, I want that, and I want that. And if I put all that stuff together, it wouldn't even be a house. It would be a mini apartment building. So with that being said, you have to start helping people really get to that clarity. So if you have 5 kids, you probably want more than 2 bedrooms, like all of those kinds of things, because people kind of get caught up in the romance of the home,
especially
and not really
if it's
looking
pretty,
at the
especially if it's pretty on the inside. When you have
all
rehab,
the
oh yeah, it's
my kid
people
can
get
sleep
caught
in the
up.
closet. Well, no, they can't.
No, they can't. But exactly.
So just helping
exactly
them
right.
really kind of get down to that understanding, and when you really have that relationship, as Regina talked about, you're able to kind of have like a little bit of synergy going there where you can really almost read your client's mind.
Correct.
But you got to get to that point.
That's right. And you say, no.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, this will work. Kid can sleep
no.
in the closet. Oh,
No.
no. Let's rethink that. Or there's no backyard. I thought you wanted a pool. Oh, that's right. I wanted a pool. Whatever. Right.
Well, so I think folks probably, are going back and forth. Is this a good time to buy a house or not? Right. So, as we sit here right now today, and folks are going, did we miss the boat? 2020 seemed like a good time to do it. What's your advice now? What's your kind of thinking on, is it the right time to buy?
Steve, you want Michelle?
It really depends on every individual's specific circumstances that's special to them. There's no matter what time of the market it is, whether it's a different season or whether it's a different year or a different decade, a different generation. Every buyer's circumstance is different, and the purchase of a home, making the investment for what most people will be the largest investment in their life, shouldn't be based on whether or not the market is right for them at that time. Because that's the reason. If you look up the definition of market, I haven't, but I would presume it says something about how there's shifts and how there's no real predictability to it. Any realtor who is doing their job is going to be honest with you and tell you that there's no way we can tell you exactly what the future holds. So whether it's the right time for you to buy a home or not isn't something that anybody else can tell you. We can just help you, give you suggestions, help you understand the data. And if you decide that it is the right time for you, the job of the realtor is to be your fiduciary and walk you through that process and make sure you get it done in the best way possible.
Yes.
Exactly.
Nicely said, Steve.
I was going to say I second that 100%.
You second that 100%. Well, I do know. I think it's probably, especially when you watch national media, and even some of the podcasts that I listen to regarding real estate, going to conventions with the National Association of Realtors, a lot of people are out there saying, hey, maybe it's not a good time to buy. Maybe it's a good time to rent. But I think really here in central Indiana, although prices are going up, right, with supply and demand, it's still affordable here. Like Steve said earlier, compared to other cities, DC, Dallas, New York, California, right, we are still affordable here. And so I would say yes, in central Indiana, now is a great time to buy a home.
And I would just add, work with your realtor, because when you go through, make sure they're doing a buyer consultation so that they understand your specific needs. And once they get that underway, then they can help guide you towards the properties that make the most sense and potentially can provide that value that we talked about. Because to Steve's earlier point, everybody's situation is unique. And if you understand it, then you can better draw a conclusion as opposed to, providing a generic answer.
When Mybore was founded, there was no such thing as 0% down loans. or 3.5% down loans, or even 5% down loans. A lot of times you were putting down half of the total value of the purchase, and the other half was your loan.
And the interest rate was 8.25.
Yeah. I mean, I know people that, had previously, they sold their home when they previously purchased it with an 18% interest rate. You think about what our past was compared to what it is now, and there's no way to nail down a specific time when it's the best time for any one buyer to purchase a home. It's what's best for them and their lifestyle they want to live.
It's interesting. You think about what's happening to affordability because of a housing shortage, essentially. What are you kind of thinking about that? This idea that because there are so few houses, so little inventory, it's driving the prices up generally. Are we pushing people out of the opportunity to own homes?
Actually, I think that's where your realtor will come in very handy, because we understand the different niche markets that happen. So whereas one area of the greater Indianapolis area might be extremely hot and prices may have driven, 102%, whatever the case is, you might have other areas of town where the growth isn't at that rate. And so if they're able to move locations and they have that ability, then that's where we can really come in and help them seed them based on what their needs are. So if it's price point, then that's where we can assist them. If it's location, then we can assist them there. It's just all about knowing the market and what it has to offer.
The other thing would be, prices are going up, but I do find that there are a variety of different price points, like Michelle had mentioned, all around the city. I do think that when you sit down with your realtor, sit down with your lender, you'll be able to really establish how you're going to put your best foot forward, even no matter what your price point is. And you are going to pay premium. The nice thing really right now is that interest rates are still really low, right? So purchasing a home is still, in my opinion, in Central Indiana, a better option than renting. Absolutely.
Let's say you currently don't have a realtor, which is an enormous mistake.
Correct.
Based on our conversation.
Huge mistake.
Huge. So you don't have a realtor, you don't know anybody who's a realtor, you don't know anybody who knows somebody who's a realtor, okay? Which is, I think, unlikely. But
Unlikely.
where do you start? How do you, is there like a Tinder for realtors? Or is there some kind of option that helps us?
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
We need the right fit.
What's Tinder?
What? Yeah, Steve.
You're looking. This is tough, right?
Right.
This is personality-driven stuff. So how do you find the right realtor?
So a lot of people our age, or my age, are going to they're very, very likely to find their realtor by asking their family and friends. Whatever social platform they use, that's probably where they're going to start. And that's a great way to start. Most realtors thrive and rely on referrals. So, if a realtor is doing a good job for their clients are going to refer them to their friends and family, and that's exactly what we all strive to achieve. But if you don't have any friends and family, or you don't have any friends and family that know a realtor, you're the first person in your circle that is buying a home. That's perfectly okay, and we've got the perfect place for you to start. That's to go to MYBOR.com and search for your agent.
There it is, and we're even going to put it on the bottom of the screen. MyBoard, there it is.
MyBoard.com.
That's right. We'll make that look really good. Okay.
That's right. Excellent.
Y'all spend a lot of time helping people, secure their financial freedom, but also find a home. What about Central Indiana has made it the place that you want to conduct your business, and why you encourage folks to plant those kind of deep, abiding roots in this community? And I'm going to have each of you answer this one. So, Steve?
So I would say that the reason I'm here is because this is where my family raised me. The fondest memories that I have growing up are with my family in my family home that I grew up in, and all the memories I made there. And that's kind of the quintessential reason that the majority of us do this job, because we truly appreciate and value the opportunity to be involved with a memory maker, something that's going to be the foundation that a person or a family or a young married couple is going to build upon. And for me, although I think we're all pretty biased, there's no better place to live and raise a family than Central Indiana. You really have the diversity to provide you any life you want to lead, And there's no better place and no better bang for your buck to do it than in Central Indiana.
Well, so I'm probably about to get my card pulled from being a Texan. However, coming from Texas, one of the things that I didn't like about living in Dallas was that it took me 45 minutes to get to anything. It didn't matter what it was. And I really love the proximity here. You know, I can be in Westfield and I can be downtown in 30 minutes. I can explore all kinds of areas and not have to worry about crazy traffic, you know, or any of that other stuff. So I love Indianapolis because it gives me the chance to participate in things I probably wouldn't have otherwise. I had to come all the way to Indianapolis to see my Cowboys participate in the combine, you know, here. So, I mean, it's just some of those things, experiences that you just can't have other places.
Yes. For me, as soon as I graduated from Warren Central, right, East Sider, as soon as I graduated, I could not leave Indianapolis quick enough. I ran to the East Coast to go to Rutgers because I wanted to get out of Indy and be close to Manhattan, right? But it's ironic, as soon as I graduated from Rutgers and had a few years outside of college, I migrated right back to Indy. Right? Met my husband, and when we were deciding where to place our roots, where to start our family, where to live, and where to kind of, sounds cheesy, grow old together, we chose Indianapolis, Indiana, to be close to family and friends. We felt the affordability again, that we would be able to be here, make a great life for our family, be able to travel. You know, go straight up 65 north, right, to Chicago, go over to Cincy, 74 over to Cincy, right? Just so many.
Or to the best airport in North America to go anywhere else.
Exactly. Yes. Well, and you laugh, but let me just tell you, my friends from New York who travel and have come through Indianapolis, they're like, you have the best airport.
We do.
Absolutely. So that was our big thing for us, to stay in Indy, to raise our family. And know that we would have a great place, just like Michelle and Steve had said, and still have the option to be able to travel and do some of the things that we love to do.